Motivation is what wakes you up in the morning. It's what drives every single action that you make in your life. So if you don't have even the smallest desire to do something, then you won't do it. So then why is it that a week or a day or even an hour after hearing a motivational speech, we either forget about it or lose all motivation to act on that awesome knowledge that we just learned? I can sit and listen to the most inspirational speaker out there and feel so inspired and determined to do everything they tell me to. I will want to completely change my life around and be this awesome person, and I might just do it for a couple of days. But soon enough, my greatest captors will take me prisoner. And these captors are what I like to call de-motivators. De-motivators are something that I believe that everybody has, and it's individual to yourself. They rob us of our self-improvement, and they deceive us into choosing something that isn't the most important thing in the moment. So I'm going to discuss 3 common de-motivators that everyone has. And the first one is something that everybody possesses, but we all use differently. This is something that doesn't necessarily have to be our enemy. It can be a blessing, a barrier, or both. This is the element of time. Oh, not that. Time. So, let me explain to you, I'm going to use myself as an example, but I'm sure everyone can relate to me when I say that I oftentimes feel like I just do not have time to add another thing to my daily routine. One day I was scrolling through Facebook and I came upon a video of a motivational speaker. And he talked for nearly 10 minutes about how doing the simple act of making your bed each day can cause you to be a more successful person. Well, maybe that's true, but I wouldn't know, because after only one day of making my bed, I decided that I didn't have time to do that. I decided that I didn't have time to move my sheets and covers over and set a couple of pillows down. That's sad, right? Well, I also apparently had time to scroll through Facebook before this, but I didn't have time to just move my covers. So it makes me believe that perhaps it's deeper than the decorative pillows that do not lie on my bed right now. Maybe our greatest demotivator isn't the lack of time that we have, but rather how we spend our time. So, I was eating a dark chocolate the other day, and dark chocolates are like my favorite, and before I throw away the wrapper, I have to read the inspirational message. I can't physically not read the message. So, usually it says something dumb like, sleep in tomorrow, or treat yourself. But this particular one grabbed my attention. They got pretty deep with this chocolate here. This was my wrapper. It said, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Think about that. You can do anything you want to, but that doesn't mean you can do everything you want to. So this all comes down to our priorities. If you truly want to do something, if it's important enough to you, then you'll make time for it. So what is the demotivator in this then? For me, it took me a little bit to discover what my demotivator was when it came to my priorities, but eventually I found that my demotivator is sleep. Now, in my head, sleep is not my top priority. Not at all. I can go a night without sleep, no big deal. But when I realized that this is my demotivator, it totally makes sense. And it's because in my excess of homework sessions that turn into nap time. They start to look less like this and a little bit more like this. Yeah, I know, it's scary, right? So turn that off. So I realized that subconsciously I choose to do my homework either on the couch or on my bed, rather than at my desk or in the library. Well, you might think, okay, well, this is because of out of habit, or because the couch is definitely more comfortable than a desk. These may be true, but it's a little bit deeper than that. You see, if I sit down on the couch to do homework, I will without fail fall asleep. This is a fact, okay? There has never been a time that I have sat down on the couch to do my homework and did not fall asleep. So then why do I keep doing it? Why wouldn't I just put in the extra effort to drive all the way to the library and do my homework? It's because I'm more motivated to get that sleep that I'm deprived of than to do the homework that I really don't want to do. So the next demotivator I want to discuss is lack of self-esteem. Or in other words, the lack of self-confidence that you can improve. How many of you, by the raise of hands, have ever had a New Year's resolution that you eventually got too discouraged and gave up on? Every year. I set goals for myself and think that I'm finally going to do this, and then I get discouraged that I'm not capable of it, and I just give up on it. Well, let me give you an example. Let's say I just felt truly inspired to run a marathon. I like to run, but I'm definitely not a runner. But let's say that I just watched a video about a woman who was an amateur runner, and it was all about her journey of how she became a marathoner. And in that instant, after I watched that video, I thought, I too can run a marathon. But almost as soon as that feeling came, it was replaced with a feeling of doubt. Doubt that I'm not a good enough runner. I can't build that endurance like she did. But wait, what makes me any different than that amateur runner that became a marathoner? Why can't I achieve what she did? It's because of my lack of self-confidence in myself, my lack of self-esteem. So I've told you a lot of stories of how I can be demotivated. Trust me, I do take my own advice sometimes. Last semester, my friend challenged me to read the Book of Mormon with him in 1 month. Now, I went through all the stages of the demotivators I just talked to you about. It started with time. I thought to myself, there is no way that I can make time for this right now. My life is crazy right now. I hardly have time to even read a couple of verses a night. How am I going to read the Book of Mormon in 1 month? That led me to list off my priorities. I thought, well, I have work, school, homework, family, friends. There's no way I can fit this in. And finally, the cherry on top, my lack of self-confidence. I've been doing so poor at reading my scriptures. What makes me think that I have the self-discipline to pull something like this off? Well, I did it. I read the Book of Mormon in 1 month. Well, you might ask, what changed? It started with the realization that I have time for anything if it's important to me. If it's important enough, I will make time for it. And this led me to reprioritize my life. I would do things like on my lunch break, instead of scrolling through Instagram, I'd open up my scriptures. Instead of listening to the radio, I would listen to 1 Nephi. And throughout the entire month, I kept in mind that Heavenly Father has faith in me. So why shouldn't I have faith in myself and faith in Him that with His help, I can do anything? So my hope for you is that you will be able to discover your own personal demotivators. And they might be the 3 that I've discussed. Maybe it's time, maybe it's priorities, or maybe it's your lack of self-confidence in yourself, your lack of self-esteem. But you might have your own different self-demotivators. I hope that you can discover those demotivators so that the next time you're motivated to do something, you'll be able to follow through with it.